Jim Carrey, the genius, the wild card, the man who could make the world laugh through pure chaos. For decades, that's the image the public saw. But behind the wide-eyed expressions, the slapstick brilliance, and the big screen success was a man shaped by hardship, rejection, heartbreak, and controversy. And in the middle of it all, there was one relationship, his whirlwind marriage to actress Lauren Holly, that was far more complicated than the gossip columns ever let on. This is the untold story of Jim Carrey's rise, his struggles, his love life, and the truth about that divorce the world thought it understood. Before the fame, before the cameras, Jim Carrey was just a boy growing up in Newmarket, Ontario, Canada. Born to Kathleen, a homemaker with Irish and Scottish roots, and Percy Carey, a part-time musician and full-time accountant, Jim was the youngest of 4 children in a Catholic family where Sunday church was routine and family dinners were sacred. Even as a child, Jim discovered he could control a room just by pulling faces in front of a mirror. At the age of 10, convinced of his talent, he even wrote to comedian Carol Burnett, declaring himself a master of impressions. When a form letter came back, he treated it as proof that he was destined for greatness. Jim's childhood love for comedy was fueled by the absurd brilliance of British sketch shows like Monty Python's Flying Circus. A particular sketch, Michael Palin's character laughing himself to death over a joke, lit a fire in him. Yet, behind the humor, home life was far from easy. The Carrey family faced financial struggles that eventually left them homeless. For a time, they lived in a Volkswagen van. Teenage Jim and his brother camped out in a tent by Lake Ontario while attending school and working night shifts as janitors and security guards. It was survival, not childhood. By 16, Jim had dropped out of school to help support his family, cleaning floors by day and performing stand-up comedy by night in Toronto clubs. His first big shot came at 15 when his father drove him to the comedy club Yuck Yucks. Wearing a polyester suit his mother picked out, Jim bombed. His polite impersonations didn't land with the edgy crowd, and for a moment, he doubted his path. But he refused to give up. By 1979, his act had sharpened, earning him paid gigs. He returned to Yuck Yucks and began to get noticed. The early 1980s brought small television roles and auditions, including to failed attempts to join Saturday Night Live. Still, Jim pressed forward, slowly shifting from celebrity impressions to original characters and observational comedy. That gamble paid off when he joined the sketch show In Living Color in 1990, where characters like Fire Marshal Bill made him a standout. Hollywood took notice. 1994 became Jim's breakout year, with Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber all becoming box office hits. Overnight, he went from struggling comic to one of the highest-paid actors in the world, commanding $7 million per film. He played the Riddler in Batman Forever, broke records with Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, and shocked audiences with darker performances in films like The Cable Guy. In 1998, The Truman Show proved he was more than a rubber-faced comedian. He could carry serious, satirical drama, but while his career soared, Jim's personal life was far less stable. His first marriage, to Melissa Womer in 1987, came before the fame and lasted 7 years, producing a daughter, Jane. Soon after their split, Jim began dating Lauren Holly, his Dumb and Dumber co-star. Their chemistry had sparked instantly on set, and by September 1996, they were married in a quiet mountaintop ceremony overlooking the Pacific Ocean. To the outside world, it was a fairy tale, but in reality, the pressure was immense. Tabloids branded Holly a homewrecker, paparazzi camped outside their home, and the constant intrusion made normal life impossible. Just 9 months later, Lauren filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Years later, she admitted the experience shattered her. They had spent their marriage trying to outrun the cameras, and when it ended, she was left heartbroken. Jim's romantic life continued to make headlines. He briefly dated singer Linda Ronstadt in the early 80s, was linked to Renee Zellweger, After Me, Myself and Irene, and later had a 5-year relationship with actress Jenny McCarthy. Then came his most tragic chapter, his relationship with Irish makeup artist Catriona White. Their on-again, off-again romance ended in 2015 when White took her own life, leaving behind a note that accused Jim of emotional harm. Lawsuits followed, filled with explosive allegations, but by 2018, they were dismissed. Jim called the ordeal a terrible shame and asked that her memory be left in peace. Alongside his personal struggles, controversy followed Jim in other ways. In 2010, he made headlines for kissing actress Alicia Silverstone on stage at an award show without her consent, something many later called inappropriate. In 2015, he sparked backlash with anti-vaccine tweets. Critics accused him of spreading dangerous misinformation, and in 2022, after condemning Will Smith for slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars, social media called him a hypocrite, bringing up his own past behavior. Despite it all, Jim continued working, albeit at a slower pace. He appeared in films like Mr. Popper's Penguins, Kick-Ass 2, and the Sonic the Hedgehog series. He published a children's book and a surreal semi-fictional memoir. In 2022, he even hinted at retiring, saying he'd only return for a truly important project. But when Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was announced, he signed on, joking that he needed the money after buying too much stuff. In recent years, Jim sold his longtime Los Angeles mansion for nearly $20 million, a huge profit from the $3.8 million he paid in 1994. Meanwhile, Lauren Holly, now 61, has spoken about her time with him in a softer light. She remembers the laughter, the joy, and the surreal life they shared, even if it couldn't last. For Jim, marriage may no longer be in the cards, but his legacy is undeniable. A man who turned hardship into art, rejection into persistence, and comedy into something unforgettable.